Hi everyone, welcome back to Corporate Decoder. Today we're diving into a report from Spirit Aviation Holdings Inc. And let me tell you, this one's a bit of a bumpy ride, kind of like flying through turbulence, but hopefully the insights are clear and steady. We're going to find out how they're recovering after their bankruptcy situation. Before we jump in, if you find value in turning complicated corporate documents into easy to understand information, make sure to subscribe. We also have a Discord community, the link is in the description below, where you can discuss these topics further. Let's get right to it. Spirit Airlines, the company we all know and maybe love or maybe hate if you've ever dealt with a delayed flight, filed some reports with the bankruptcy court. This happened because they were having financial difficulties and needed help to reorganize their business. Think of it like a pilot making an emergency landing to fix the plane before continuing the journey. These filings include monthly operating reports, basically financial check-ins for February of 2025 and early March, and a post-confirmation report covering the period after they officially emerged 2025, which is when they came out of Chapter 11. Bankruptcy is like a company getting a chance to reorganize its finances under the protection of the court. Now, it's important to note that while most of Spirit's cases were closed in March, one case involving Spirit Finance, Cayman One Limited, is still ongoing. This is like saying most of the plane is fixed, but one small part still needs some work. The first thing Spirit filed was the monthly operating reports. These reports tell us about how Spirit was doing financially while it was still under bankruptcy protection. It's like checking the plane's engine and fuel levels mid-flight. These reports cover February of 2025 and the first part of March. Then they filed a post-confirmation report, which gives us a snapshot of how things were going shortly after they emerged from bankruptcy. This report covers the period from March 12, 2025 to March 27, 2025. Think of it as a quick assessment of the plane's performance right after it takes off again. Spirit wants everyone to know that these reports aren't necessarily the full picture. They were created specifically to comply with bankruptcy rules and might not include all the details you'd find in their regular financial filings. It's like saying these are just quick progress reports, not the complete annual review. The company is also cautioning investors not to rely too much on these reports when making investment decisions. The information might be limited, cover short periods, and be subject to change. These reports were not checked by outside accountants and may not follow the same rules as regular financial reports. It's like saying, don't bet the farm based on these reports alone. Also, past performance is not a guarantee of future success. Just because Spirit did well in February or March doesn't mean they'll continue to do well later in the year. Think of it as weather forecasts, they can change quickly. There's a lot of legal language to protect themselves from people making assumptions about the future based on the current filing. The company also listed some risk factors. These include things like their ability to manage their debt, the rising cost of fuel, and other factors that have been previously talked about in their other reports. It's important to note these are all estimates. This document also includes exhibits. These are the actual reports that Spirit filed with the bankruptcy court. You can find the monthly operating report for February 2025, the monthly operating report for the beginning of March 2025, and the post-confirmation report for the second half of March 2025, and the post-confirmation report for the second half of March 2025, and the post-confirmation report for the second half of March 2025, and the post-confirmation report for the second half of March 2025. Looking at the monthly operating report for February, we can see their operating revenues. These are the revenues they get from their normal business operations. It's important to note these are from when the company was under bankruptcy protection. Next, we can look at the total operating expenses. These are the costs it takes to run the airline, including things like salaries, fuel, and maintenance. It's important to look at revenue versus expenses to see how much money they're making or losing. Here we see Spirit had a net loss, meaning they spent more money than they made. It's like a household spending more than it earns in a month. So now let's look at the second monthly operating report covering the beginning of March. Again, we can see the total operating revenues during this period. Remember that this is only for the first 11 days of March. It's like looking at sales for the first week of the month. We can also see the total operating expenses for this short period. Remember to compare this to the revenue to get an idea of whether they were making or losing money. Here we can see that, again, the company had a net loss during the first part of March. It's important to keep in mind this is only for a short period, so it might not be indicative of the whole month. Now let's switch over to the post-confirmation report, which covers the period after Spirit emerged from bankruptcy. This report gives us a peek into the very beginning of their new start. Again, we can see the total operating revenues, expenses, and the net income or loss. Comparing these numbers to the earlier reports will help us understand if things were improving or not. Here we see a significant change. Spirit had net income. It seems like things started looking up after they emerged from bankruptcy. So putting it all together, Spirit Airlines went through a rough patch, filed for bankruptcy, and is now trying to get back on its feet. The reports they filed with the bankruptcy court give us a glimpse into their financial situation during and shortly after this process. It's like watching a company go through a major life event and seeing how they're trying to recover. Now, what's my take on all this? Spirit definitely had some challenges as seen by the losses reported during bankruptcy. But the fact that they emerged from bankruptcy and even showed a net income in the post-confirmation report is a good sign. It suggests that the changes they made during bankruptcy are starting to pay off. However, it's important to remember that the airline industry is very competitive and can be affected by things like fuel prices and economic conditions. So Spirit still has work to do to ensure its long-term success. I will be looking into this more as more reports come out. Overall, Spirit's journey through bankruptcy and its initial steps toward recovery are interesting to watch. It's a reminder that even when companies face tough times, they can sometimes find a way to turn things around. Alright, that's a breakdown of Spirit Aviation's recent filings. What do you think about Spirit's future? Drop your thoughts in the comments. If this analysis was valuable, hitting that like button really helps, and subscribe for more deep dives. Don't forget to check out the Discord channel in the description. Thanks for watching. See you next time.